Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here now that my 2 informative videos are done for the day, including me hitting a volume PR on my strict press this morning. It's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about 5% nutrition. Oh God. You guys know that I ragged on it even when I was back in the UK over those $8 milk jugs. Remember the milk jugs? Just a plain milk jug like what you can buy for sometimes 70 cents at the grocery store with actual bottled water in it. But this one's just full of air that had a 5% logo on it. Now you know that logo cost them maybe 10 cents to put on there. Now if stores are selling those things for less than $1 a bottle with water in them, a gallon of water, and their own labels already on them, we know that's not very expensive. And I always say, guys, if you just wanted a water jug, you could just go buy a water jug at the store, drink the gallon of water, you know, pay your 75 cents, which isn't taxed, by the way. Usually if you're buying a water jug, since it's a food item, it's not taxable. So you don't even got to pay tax on it like you might have to do, or shipping or anything, like you'd have to do with these $8 jugs they were selling. And, you know, people are like, yeah, but, you know, it's about having the 5% logo to let people know that you're one of the 5% of people willing to do whatever it takes to reach your goals, including buying an $8 empty water jug full of anabolic air. You know, because the air must be anabolic in it, right? Because you can go get a 75-cent jug full of water, and apparently this air is more anabolic than water. You know, even though we need water for muscle growth, I mean, if you can't breathe, you don't get air, you're going to die. That must have been their marketing. But I called them out on that, and I noticed they later dropped it to $4. They did drop it to $4 after I made a video calling that out later. If I influenced it, I don't know if a bunch of people contacted and said, hey, that's really a ripoff. Maybe they sold twice as many of them when they dropped it to $4. But, you know, kind of the whole point there, people were paying for the 5% logo because Rich Piana told them, if you take this, you're one of my 5%ers. A lot of people liked Rich. You know what? I didn't necessarily like everything about Rich, but a lot of people did. A lot of people loved him. A lot of people felt he was a really honest guy, or they thought he was really entertaining. So they wanted to support Rich. Now Rich has passed, and this company honestly thinks that they're going to keep making a lot of money. There's nothing special about any of their products. They're no different than any of the other supplement companies out there. What they had was a 1 million subscriber YouTube channel who people liked, who a lot of people liked. I mean, 1 million people wouldn't be subscribed to a channel if people didn't like him for whatever reason it was. A lot of people wanted to support him, so they bought his product line. His clothing, his $8 water jugs, his supplements. But see, here's the thing. Rich is gone. And you know, the sad part of all that, people did it to support Rich ultimately, right? They did it to support Rich, and I found out later, after his passing, I have talked to multiple people who were in his life over the phone because we had other things to discuss. I have talked to a number of people who were very, very close to him. And you know the reality? He owned a tiny percentage of that company. A lot of people are like, oh man, he gets like probably half the problem. No, not even close. Not even close. In fact, it was one of my understanding that one of his ex-wives, I believe it was told to me, I don't have evidence of that, it was told to me that one of his ex-wives actually owned a much larger share of the company than he did. That's what happens when you're not smart. You're going through divorces and business deals, I suppose. She owned more of it than he did. Now, people who were then wanting to support him, like, man, I'm going to buy this $8 water jug. I can be part of his clique. Rich is going to get money. I bet you he made probably less than a dime off of that. He probably made a dime, maybe 15 cents off that jug. You know, really kind of sad in the grand scheme of things. In a lot of ways, you know, he lived a life that was different than what he portrayed, and that's what I found out. He rented everything. He didn't have the money to own all that stuff. He rented that big house. He leased all those cars. He didn't actually own any of it. You know, really unfortunate in a lot of ways. Now, here's the thing. You got a bunch of products now. They're like, oh, we're going to bring, they're saying they're going to bring new athletes in, new people to sponsor, new people to promote, so then people can support those sponsored athletes. Well, here's the thing, guys. The end of the day, what you've got to be realistic about, does anyone out there really and truly think any of those products helped Rich? Rich used massive amounts of site enhancement. And a lot of people argue, no, he didn't, no, he didn't. Okay, fine. You want to believe that? That's cool. I'm not going to make any money by convincing you that he did. There's nothing in it for me to convince you. I don't care. I'm just stating it. I thought it's blaringly obvious. And anyone who disagrees, that's fine. That's cool. If you're that ignorant, you don't know what you're looking at, that's cool, brother. Do you. I don't care. Doesn't matter. He admittedly used enormous amounts of anabolics. Enormous amounts of anabolics. His stacks were publicly admitted. I mean, he did his bigger by the day stack, publicly broke it down. This is what day, 7 weeks from now, I'm going to inject this on Wednesday, and I'm going to inject this on Thursday. Like, he broke the entire thing down in detail. And it was a lot of drugs. There were at least 7 different, actually I think more. There were more than 7 different anabolics in high doses in this mixture of different substances, all sorts of stuff. It's pretty crazy. So anyone out there really think that any of these products really got him his size? I mean, does anybody really believe that? We also know from all the information that he abused a lot of street drugs that probably helped with his leanness and cutting. Really think any of these products helped him build muscle? You really think they helped him burn fat? Come on, his drug doses were astronomical. I mean, ultimately, his whole combination of lifestyle is what killed him. So, I mean, you've got a company now that's like, well, you know, yeah, these products, but these products didn't help Rich. And anyone who really, not many people really believe they did. People bought the products because they wanted supplements, and they wanted to support Rich, and they wanted his logo and his name and his 5% thing. I mean, it's trendy. I made fun of it. I did make fun of it. But you know what? It was actually pretty clever marketing. I'm going to give props for that. That is clever marketing. You can be one of the 5%, because you tell people they can be part of an elite club. The 5% of people who do whatever it takes to reach their goals. And you let everybody know that you're part of that group and you wear this clothing. But see, the thing is, the messenger's dead. That worked while Rich was alive. It worked well. I mean, very successful company. But they had an over-the-top front man to promote it. 5% was Rich Piana. And anyone who thinks otherwise, come on. That was the company. Now that he's passed, people are going to forget more about Rich. They're not going to care anymore. Their sales are going to fall off. Their customer base will fall off. There might be some loyalty for now. A year from now, nobody's going to know who Rich Piana was. He'd be a little following like Ziz has. Not going to care. This community is fickle. These bodybuilding followers are fickle. All right, and what you better factor in, 50% of them aren't even going to be working out a year from now. 50% of Piana's followers and fans fall out every year. All the guys who get into this hardcore training scene, half of them fall out every single year. All of them, half of them. So in a year's time, 50% of his followers aren't even going to be lifting weights anymore. 50% of their customer base isn't going to be lifting weights anymore. 2 years, another half are going to cut out. Only about a fourth of them will probably still be going to the gym. That's the reality. And these people are fickle. They jump from person to person. These guys who followed him are going to latch on to another personality. They're not going to keep buying the line. And who are they going to introduce? They don't have anybody with 1 million followers who had that over-the-top marketing, because he was over the top. I mean, Rich was a showman at the end of the day. They don't have anyone to replace him, and now they're just another one of these supplement companies. That's all they are, other than they were being driven by one charismatic individual who is now passed. I don't think they're going to do that well, to be honest. And now people say, why you shouldn't be that way, you shouldn't say that. Actually, guys, I hope all supplement companies don't do well. I'm kind of against the supplement industry for the most part. I think it sells nothing but snake oil garbage. In other words, the stuff that any company, I'm not even going to single this company out. I'm not saying this company is special here. I'm saying all supplement companies, 99% of what they sell is borderline useless, if not completely useless. All right? Maybe 1 to 2% of supplements out there are useful. That's being realistic. The stuff you find on the shelf, any of these big supplement companies are pushing, 1 to 2% of the products actually have uses. And quite frankly, those uses aren't particularly overwhelming. They're not even as good as what they would like to have you believe they are. If they do anything, it's a very, very small advantage. There's almost nothing you can get from a supplement that you can't just get from the grocery store in terms of benefit. In fact, people who eat good balanced diets probably won't benefit at all from really anything. So ultimately, again, companies like this, they latch onto and they use YouTubers, and that really was used. I mean, he pushed it because he knew he got something out of it. But at the end of the day, he didn't really make that much money out of that company, and that's what's come back to me. He just didn't own very much of it. Not at all. Behind the scenes, people owned way, way, way the lion's share of it. So, he was the front man for it. He's what pushed it. They don't have another 1 million subscriber YouTube channel to push it. And quite frankly, that's a good way to get a supplement company off the ground and going. But are they going to ever see the sort of sales they saw all through Rich's days? No, they're never going to see that again. They just got to be realistic about that. And hopefully their marketing people realize that look, yeah, they're going to have to get desperate. They're going to have to bring on 3 or 4 or 5 new sponsored people, probably to maintain 50% of the sales that they had at Rich's peak. And that's going to be optimistic at best. But you know what? That doesn't even matter that much, because they've probably made millions of dollars already selling snake oil. Selling snake oil off Rich's back. They're already set. These people are all millionaires already. They're good to go. It doesn't matter if this company slides off and drops down to a residual IRR down in, low 6-figure range. Doesn't matter. They've already got good lifestyles from it. So, not really much loss. But the reality of it is, when you have a company that's propped up by a single individual in an oversaturated market, and that individual happens to die, that's pretty much it. So lesson to the wise out there, if you're going to start a company, you probably don't want to have your sole spokesman, who is the center of your company that props it up, be a massive drug abuser who abuses 7 or 15 different drugs at high doses. Probably not a good idea for a long-term business model. You might make a lot of money in the short term, not a good long game. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.